What has San Francisco done to help the residents struggling with housing unaffordability? Due to increasing costs of living, many residents in San Francisco are having issues with finding affordable housing. Some important ideas to note are that systems tend to uphold practices of labor exploitation. Sustainable urban development pushes people into risky areas and worsens both housing inequality and environmental vulnerability. Permanent supportive housing helps formerly homeless youth, but it does not fully solve food insecurity for them. And Ellis evictions in San Francisco exhibits significant spatial clustering, which show that they function as a legal tool of gentrification and displacement. The San Francisco Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing offers services such as the SF Emergency Rental Help, Home Match, housing problem solving, and eviction prevention, which helps with addressing these issues. The following digital short will be about the stakeholder, the San Francisco Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, which addresses cost of living, housing affordability, supportive housing, and Ellis Act evictions, and will be on the topic of housing and cost of living in San Francisco, California. The first resource by Yulia Gilich and Tony Boardman, titled Wildcat Imaginaries from Abolition University to University Abolition. For my research on housing and cost of living in San Francisco, describes the COLA, which connects to the SF Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, who addresses the COLA through the SF Emergency Rental Assistance. This first resource supports the idea that universities uphold systems of labor exploitation, as the UCSC has refused to accept strikers' bargain for a livable wage. According to the article, strikers have argued for a cost of living adjustment, which is an increase in payments that account for inflation and ensures purchasing power remains consistent, and they argued that students are underpaid and exploited, but the university argued that the COLA was not a labor issue and refused to increase wages even as the cost of living on campus was rising continuously. I believe this resource helps explain how the cost of living is constantly increasing, but organizations such as the university system do not always, if ever, adjust to help their workers with making a livable wage, as these organizations focus more on personal profit and gain. This resource helps me to understand the cost of living through COLA and how this is a big issue that needs to be addressed. The article, the students and workers during the Wildcat strike wanted their wages to be a reflection of the COLA, but they were denied this, which led to these students and workers from not having a wage that actually supports them. This connects to my main idea that housing is becoming increasingly unaffordable because as costs of housing increase, people's wages are not increasing at a similar rate, which causes housing to be more unaffordable. The article also adds that affordable housing for students is not provided by universities, which causes the students to be pushed into surrounding neighborhoods, which leads to raised rents as competition for housing increases. This connects to the Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, which offers assistance with the financial aid involving rent. The second resource by Miriam Greenberg et al., titled Relational Geographies of Urban Unsustainability, the Entanglement of California's Housing Crisis with WUI Growth and Climate Change. For my research on housing and cost of living in San Francisco, discusses housing affordability, which connects to the SF Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, who addresses this with the Home Match program. This second resource helps explain how decreased housing affordability may lead to increases in living expenses and how housing affordability is connected to WUI growth, climate change, and climate-related disasters. According to the article, the shortage of affordable housing in urban centers pushes residents to settle in wildfire-prone WUI areas, which increases their exposure to climate risks such as fire risks and greenhouse gas emissions, and adds hidden costs to their living expenses. I believe this means residents are forced to settle in WUI areas, which comes with many risks to both themselves and their homes. Home sellers will increase their fees for financial purposes. I believe people have a hard time moving to high-paying cities or are forced to move out of these cities due to the unaffordability of the housing market, which keeps these people in these WUI areas or pushes them there, causing them to be faced with hidden fees and exposure to dangers. This means addressing San Francisco's high cost of living is not just about economic justice, but about preventing environmentally harmful urban sprawl, reducing wildfire risk, and promoting sustainable, equitable urban growth. This idea connects to the Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing because they offer services of finding affordable housing for residents so that they are able to move out of WUI or keep them away from these zones. The third resource by Sarah Brothers et al. Titled Food Insecurity Among Formerly Homeless Youth in Supportive Housing, a Social Ecological Analysis of a Structural Intervention for my research on housing and cost of living in San Francisco discusses the problems formerly homeless youth in supportive housing face, which connects to the SF Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, who offers funds to assist them with the cost of living. According to the article, formerly homeless youth face food insecurity even after being placed in supportive housing because they often don't have access to affordable food or may not have reliable kitchen appliances or cooking skills. In the article, the authors say it is difficult for them to stretch their already limited funds on food storage spaces or cooking utensils, which leads them to rely on costly or unhealthy food. They also mention that traveling to locations with more affordable grocery stores is sometimes not an option as they don't have the money for transportation, which means they cannot easily access affordable or nutritious food. This resource shows that even with housing support, residents of San Francisco and other cities as well still need support with cost of living. This means that programs are needed to provide those struggling with not just a place to stay, but financial assistance as well. This connects to the SF Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing because they address the issues within supportive housing with the Housing Problem Solving Program. The fourth resource by Matthew R. Leonard and Seth Allen Williams, titled Ellis Act Evictions Notices in San Francisco, Absolute and Relative Clustering for my research on housing and cost of living in San Francisco discusses how Ellis Act evictions in SF cause residents to be displaced, which connects to the Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, who offers legal representation to those facing eviction. According to the article, Ellis Act evictions exhibit spatial clusterings, which supports the idea that Ellis Act evictions do not happen randomly, but instead are tools used by landlords to gain profit and means. I believe this is important because tenants within these targeted areas are at risk of displacement. The authors state that Ellis Act evictions often happen in areas that are undergoing gentrification, where property value is increasing, which shows that landlords only exit the market in an attempt to redevelop the area and gain more profit from the redevelopment. This resource connects the idea that evictions are tools used for gentrification and displacement. This means that while tenants are evicted and become displaced, the neighborhood or area that they were evicted from changes from a lower income area to a wealthier area. This connects to the Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing because they offer free legal services which assist tenants in risk of being evicted or displaced. The SF Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing offers assistance with the issue of raised rents and COLA through the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. According to the department's website, they help citizens with financial issues that revolve around housing and work with the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development to offer the San Francisco Emergency Rental Assistance Program. The department states that this is a program that helps citizens get help financially with move-in costs and rent that is past due, as long as they meet the eligible requirements. I believe this program helps those such as students experiencing being underpaid or exploited, since it aims to keep these tenants in their homes when they experience financial hardships and are unable to afford a security deposit for a new apartment or home. I think the program connects with the COLA because when faced with a income that has not been adjusted to sustain your cost of living, the San Francisco Emergency Rental Assistance Program provides people with help financially. To address the issue of people being pushed into WUI zones, the San Francisco Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing helps these residents to stay in the city of San Francisco through shared housing. According to their website, the department works with the stakeholder Front Porch to establish the Home Match San Francisco program. The department describes the Home Match program as a free program connecting members of the community looking for housing to elders with extra room in their residence. This means that they match those looking for housing with elderly people who have space in their homes, and the two would share the house and contribute to the rent together, making it more affordable for both parties. I believe this program would keep people from being forced to move to WUI zones when they cannot afford housing, as it aims to provide affordable housing options through connecting people for shared housing. I believe the two parties would be saving money on rent, so it would benefit both and keep them from being pushed out of the city in hopes of looking for more affordable housing. The Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing addresses the issues that come from supportive housing by offering funds that would assist families with receiving a better quality of living and helps with relocating to a better location. I believe that the funds the department offers can help these youth with moving to an area with access to more affordable food or even to afford more food. According to the San Francisco Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, they connect with supportive housing through the program Housing Problem Solving, which helps people in jeopardy of losing their homes. Their website states that this service helps individuals such as the youth with long-term stability through flexible financial assistance, which helps with immediate needs such as rent, security deposits, or utility bills. I believe that this program would help the youth stretch out their funds better as they would have more money for food. I think that since the financial assistance that they receive would be used on their bills, the money that they do have already could be used on other things like better food or access to transportation. San Francisco Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing offers support to assist those victims of unfair evictions. According to Ellis Action Notice in San Francisco by Matthew and Seth, many are subjected to displacement due to not finding a new place to live after being evicted. In terms of Ellis Act evictions, the department has the program of eviction prevention, which helps with those in risk of evictions as well as resolves disputes involving housing and attempts to prevent displacement. According to the department, you can get legal assistance with evictions through the Eviction Defension Collaborative, as they offer legal assistance which helps citizens stay in their homes. According to the Eviction Defense website, the EDC provides legal representation for free when people are facing their landlords and their attorneys, and they have provided over 5,000 residents with free legal assistance each year. According to both the department and the EDC, they work together in order to fight for residents' rights and work to prevent homelessness by fighting against unfair evictions and even Ellis Act evictions. In terms of housing and cost of living, the stakeholder, the San Francisco Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, tries their best to address issues that arise from an increase in cost of living and decrease in affordable housing. The department has addressed the issues that arise with cost of living, housing affordability, supportive housing, and Ellis Act evictions. They work with other stakeholders such as the Front Porch and Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development using services such as emergency rental help, home match, housing problem solving, and eviction prevention. Ultimately, through the San Francisco Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing, I would say that San Francisco has done its best to help their residents.